Welcome back to part 2 of the 1949 TeleKing TV restore. Let's get started. All right, update. We have a working picture now. A couple of things I found on that. Most interesting thing is paper cap. It's a .02. It's actually in the sound circuit. There it is, and it is shorted. It's kind of strange what it was doing. This is a source voltage going through this 1K resistor. Back down to here, you can see this filter cap. That's, if I'm not mistaken, 130 volt source. It tells on this, on the rider manual, right here. It says 133 volts. That's on a terminal strip up in the IF section. But in tracing that down, that makes its way back to this 270 source right here on this terminal strip, and it was pulled down to less than 200. And the more I checked, the more I was able to determine right here, this 133, it was reading only about 60 volts. So once we found that cap bad, there's that connection there, the 130 volts that goes into the IF string. Here's another side of it. You can see now we're up to around 135 volts or so. When I found that cap shorted, replaced it. We had a picture, but the horizontal was off frequency. What was causing that resistor right there goes from the horizontal frequency coil to that terminal strip. You could get the picture close. You can see we're still off, the frequency's off, and even on the scope we're at 13.2 thousand. And I could adjust this coil we can get up to about 14, a little over 14,000. And if we turned it just a little bit more, the frequency, the horizontal, would drop out. Watch what happens when I clip this new resistor in. We're a little over 15,000. We can adjust it on out to 15.7. Stable on the frequency, kind of bouncing around there, but it's basically 15.7. So that's going to take care of that. I need to clip that resistor out. It goes from that coil over to that terminal strip, and we'll put this new one in. And the resistor is right here. Goes up to pin 2, the horizontal multiplier tube, 6SN7, 5600 ohm. So let me get that resistor changed. And we still got a few more paper caps to change. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have no sound, but I'll address that next. Not too worried about that. Usually sound circuits are easier to repair than horizontal and vertical circuits, so we'll see what we can come up with on that. We've changed all of the paper caps except this one here, and that's just a bypass to ground, so that's not really going to do anything. It's off of the contrast control, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure that's what that is. But all of the rest of them, we have new paper caps in. And our sound problem, discriminator coil here in the back, someone had adjusted it. It was way, they had it out about an inch. Volume control needs cleaning. But we got some sound now. Tuner's working really good. It's tight and stable. That's channel 6 on the Agile modulator, Wander tongue. Here's our tally so far on the caps. 32 paper caps, if I've counted correctly. 3 resistors so far, and I haven't checked a lot of the resistors. This electrolytic that's someone had put that in. It wasn't the original cap, so we replaced it with a smaller one. And by the time we replace all of the electrolytics in this set, counting that one, be 12 more electrolytics. So that's 32 and 12, 44 caps. So if you replace all the caps in these old sets, you can spend some dollars, probably $75, maybe $100 worth of caps there. But if you want them to last a while and play correctly, that's really the only way to go. Well, I got anxious. Why not put in the 10-inch picture tube and see what kind of picture we have? I'd say pretty good. That's with fluorescent lights on too. Let me turn one of these off. Yeah, really good detail, good contrast. But it should have, because this is a new CRT. This is it's a Raytheon. It's the original box that it came in. And we've even got a warranty cards to fill out. I don't think it's going to do us any good to do that, but brand new tube. And I bought that from the Early Television Foundation. Big shout out to them for making things like this available for folks who want to restore these old sets. Just contacted Steve. He sent me a price. I paid, and I got it within about 4 or 5 days. So really happy with that brand new picture tube. Once we get this tube pulled back out, then we're going to clean on this chassis and see what we can do and get rid of some more of this rust. And of course put the shield back on the high voltage section and do some finishing up. Before I take the CRT out to do some cleaning on the chassis, I'm going to do some horizontal adjustments. According to the service literature, the first adjustment is a horizontal hold, and I've put the front control in the center position, and then we just adjust the coil until the picture locks, which is right there. Then the horizontal drive control, that's that variable cap. You turn it clockwise until the right side starts to squeeze in, which is, the right side would be the left side you're looking at in the mirror there. So right along in there. And if you'll notice, we're pretty symmetrical from side to side. Same distance here on the test pattern. Then the horizontal width control. That's next. That's this control right here. And that does exactly what it says it does. That controls the width of the picture. And you want it to where the picture just scans a little more than the edges of the CRT, which is right in there. And the final adjustment is this linearity coil. That's on top of the point. It's pointing up here on the transformer, the flyback. And that just, when you adjust it, again, you're looking for just a symmetrical picture from side to side. Same amount of distance on the test pattern. And it should be right along in there. Vertical. This is a linearity. And what we're kind of looking for there is make sure that circle is round. Right along in there. And then the height. And just adjust the height. Now, you'll notice when I crank the height up a little more, that kind of scooted the top up higher, so we can readjust it like that. It should be pretty good on the adjustments. So now we'll pull the tube out and begin cleaning on this chassis. And one last thing before I pull this tube out, I've marked where the ion trap goes, so that'll help me line it up when I put it back on. Usually when these old sets have a plastic yoke cover, it's almost always disintegrated. This one's made out of cardboard, so it's probably as good now as it was the day it was made. And here's a completed electrolytics. Just mounted a terminal strip here and over here and right up here. So all of the filter caps in those 3 cans are now on those terminal strips. While the top of the chassis looks original. Before we wrap up this video, I had several comments and inquiries about this little digital multimeter that I have that also has a scope feature on it. And I thought I would just show you real quickly how it works. I wouldn't use this meter to do alignments or anything really critical. I'm pretty impressed with the scope function. Just have it clipped on the drive signal of the horizontal output tube. It's pin 5. The most important thing it's showing me here is the frequency. That says 15.7. So that tells me that the horizontal is on frequency and we have good drive to that output tube. It'll also tell you the peak-to-peak voltage, the average voltage, and the RMS voltage. For troubleshooting a horizontal or a vertical circuit, either one, this works well. It's small. You don't have to drag out the big scope. Pretty satisfied with this. And we have one more thing to do to the chassis before we call it completed. These are the speaker wires that come through the chassis. And I think I have some grommets that size I'm going to put on the wire. And then I've got another idea here on the ends. We're going to put a plug and a jack where we can just unplug it from the speaker that's in the cabinet of the set. Alright, a little better. Here's what I'm going to do with the speaker. Just put a phono plug on the wires coming out of the chassis that go to the speaker. And then on the speaker itself, I'll put a phono jack where we can just easily plug this in. Won't have to worry about sorting wires back, and make it a little easier. And I put a piece of heat shrink to hold the wires together. Alright, chassis finished. Really happy with the picture quality. So next we'll move on to the cabinet, and I'll let this play. Well, every time I'm down here working on the cabinet in the basement, I'm going to turn it on and we'll just let it play. Make sure everything's okay. I feel like it is. I mean, I've played it probably 3 or 4 hours already, and picture's good and stable, sounds good, and don't see any problems at all. So that's going to do it for part 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in part 3 when we do the cabinet work and finish up this set. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, how about subscribing to our channel? We would really appreciate it. Thanks.